In tonight's Coronation Street, Ben Driscoll erupted in fury after a hellish week spent trying to unpack his family history. In yesterday's episode, Maggie Driscoll's bombshell secret that she had accidentally killed her husband Alan was finally revealed. After Maggie told her son Ben the truth about his dad, the revelation caused a rift in the family. When Ben told Eva, Maggie was banished. Earlier in the week, Ben's son Will reported his abuser Megan Walsh to the police as part of the soap's ongoing grooming storyline. In today's episode, with tensions high at the Rovers, Ben had a meltdown. After throwing Maggie's belongings onto the street, Ben told her that she had betrayed him, saying, "You've been letting people down your whole life. Me most of all." Steve took pity on Maggie, who poured out her heart and assured him that he and his brother Andy meant the world to Jim, just as Ben and Finley do to her. Steve begged Ben to hear Maggie out, but he said, "This is none of your business, Steve, and she had no right spilling her guts to you anyway." When Steve pointed out that they are family, Ben lost it and threw him out of the pub along with the rest of the customers. "Everything I thought I knew has been turned upside down," said Ben. "And you think that's a reason to celebrate, do you?" After Steve said, "It's not every day you get a new brother," Ben said, "You're no brother of mine. You're nothing to me. Now get out now." He forcefully pushed him out of the pub, then screamed to the rest of the punters, "Out the lot of yous. Do one. Out. Now." In a heart-to-heart with Eva, Ben told her he felt like he was failing at everything and that he'd let everyone down. Eva said, "Right, enough now. Self-pity doesn't suit you. You're not failing at anything. You're doing your best, love, which is all anybody can do. And I tell you something else, it's good enough for me." The Rovers' return has seen its fair share of chaos over the years, but nothing quite like the storm brewing this week as Ben's life begins to spiral out of control. What started as a routine shift behind the bar quickly transforms into an emotional pressure cooker, ending in an explosive outburst that leaves Weatherfield stunned and relationships hanging by a thread. Ben had always been known as dependable, steady, the kind of man who kept his head down and got the job done without fuss. But beneath that calm exterior, cracks have been forming for weeks. Cracks that this hellish week at the Rovers finally brings crashing open. It begins with pressure at work. With staff shortages hitting hard, Ben is forced to take on double shifts, covering for colleagues who either called in sick or simply couldn't cope with the mounting stress. The pub, usually a lively but manageable hub of gossip and laughter, becomes an exhausting battlefield of spilled drinks, demanding customers, and constant complaints. Every pint poured feels like a test of patience. Every sarcastic remark from a customer cuts deeper than it should. And every time the till balances incorrectly, Ben feels the invisible weight of responsibility tighten around his chest. But it's not just work. Outside the Rovers, Ben's personal life is quietly unraveling. A strained relationship that once gave him comfort now feels like a ticking time bomb. Misunderstandings pile up like empty glasses on the bar. Messages go unanswered. Promises are broken. And every attempt at conversation seems to spiral into another argument. By midweek, Ben is running on fumes. Wednesday night becomes the turning point. The pub is packed, local residents crowding in after a long day, seeking relief in alcohol and familiar faces. Instead, they find tension. A double booking leads to chaos. A delivery arrives late. And the music system breaks down at the worst possible moment, leaving an awkward silence that feels louder than any song could ever be. Ben tries to hold it together, but his patience is thinning fast. "Just give me 5 minutes." He snaps at a customer complaining about waiting times, a tone so sharp it immediately draws attention. It's the first real sign that something is wrong. By Thursday, things only get worse. A disagreement with a colleague over rota changes escalates into a heated exchange in front of customers. Rumors begin to spread that Ben is struggling, that he's not coping, that maybe he's not right for the job anymore. The whispers follow him like shadows through the pub, each one chipping away at his confidence. And then comes Friday, the day everything breaks. The Rovers is busier than ever, with locals piling in for what should be a lively end to the week. But for Ben, it feels like walking into a storm he can no longer control. Glasses smash, orders pile up, and tensions rise as customers grow increasingly impatient. Then it happens. A simple mistake, a misplaced order, a missing receipt, a customer insisting they've been overcharged, becomes the spark that ignites everything. Ben tries to explain, tries to fix it, but no one seems to listen. Voices overlap. Accusations fly. The noise becomes unbearable. And something inside him snaps. I've had enough. Ben suddenly roars, his voice cutting through the entire pub like thunder. The room falls silent. For a moment, even the background chatter seems to disappear. Ben's hands slam against the bar, shaking glasses, and startled shock ripples through the Rovers. Regulars who have known Ben for years stare at him in disbelief. This isn't the calm, collected man they're used to. This is someone pushed beyond his limits. Behind the bar, chaos freezes into silence. Even the customer who started the argument looks taken aback, suddenly aware that they may have pushed too far. But Ben isn't finished. All the stress, the exhaustion, the heartbreak, it all comes spilling out. I'm done being blamed for everything that goes wrong, he continues, voice cracking slightly now. I'm done pretending I'm fine when I'm running on empty. For a brief second, it looks like he might walk out. Like he might leave the bar, leave the pub, maybe even leave everything behind. But instead, he stands there breathing heavily, caught between rage and regret. It's only when the pub's atmosphere shifts, when silence turns into uncomfortable concern, that reality begins to settle back in. A few regulars cautiously step forward, trying to calm the situation. One of the older patrons softly reminds him, "Ben, take a breath, lad." That simple line hits harder than anything else. The anger begins to fade, replaced by exhaustion, so deep it almost looks like pain. Ben looks around the pub, at the faces watching him, at the mess behind the bar, at the life he has been holding together with sheer force of will, and realizes just how close he came to losing control completely. I shouldn't have done that, he mutters finally, his voice quieter now, almost broken. But the damage is done. Word of the outburst spreads quickly through Weatherfield. Some sympathize, understanding the pressure he's been under. Others are less forgiving, questioning whether someone so